Welcome back everybody. Today I'm pretty excited because I'm back at Concrete Waves and the weather is delightful. There's no one else around, so I thought I'd talk you through a few issues I've been having lately, and the main one is a crisis of confidence. Now I'm used to coming a cropper or getting a little injury and that knocking my confidence, but that's usually just in one area of my skateboarding. It could be in the pool or on the spine or on the vert ramp, and what I can do is I can rejig and then regain my confidence by going into another area. But I think lately I've had a perfect storm of things coming together to knock my overall confidence. Tried to drop in on the vert ramp the other day, which sort of became a little bit routine, but I left it for a couple of months and managed to get the yips there. Couldn't get in at all, kept on doing a bad horsey refusal at the fence. Eventually I got in, but that knocked my confidence, the fact that I couldn't drop in on the vert ramp. I also came a cropper in Spain, landed on the coping on my arse cheek, and I got a dead arse for about 2 weeks. And that knocked my confidence a little bit. I usually don't mind a bit of an injury, but that one, trying to travel back on Ryanair for 2 hours, that was pretty emotional. I think another aspect is my skating has started to plateau. I'm 4 years in now, and I've been racing through the tricks, getting really stoked on making the progression from one trick to the next. The problem with that is I'm not really getting any consistency in the tricks that I'm learning. And when I go back to them, it can knock my confidence a bit because I think, oh, I used to be able to do this. When I think in reality, I just didn't spend enough time learning that trick, managed to make a few makes and then move on to the next thing. It seems like the next raft of tricks I've got coming up are a little bit above my current pay grade. So that is also introducing some fear, because I'm gonna have to really man up to be able to attempt that next batch of tricks. And I think the final area is I've lost my 100% focus. I've recently got back into climbing. I used to climb in the 90s, and just like anything, there's a honeymoon period to the start of learning any sport. So I'm finding it really exciting to get back into the climbing. I'm also trying to get back into shape. I went a bit overboard with the mince pies at Christmas, and being a little bit heavier doesn't really work for the climbing, doesn't work for the skateboarding, but I think I've been compensating. So I've had the confidence knock before. Usually when I'm tinkering with my setup, I found that anything that is different will feel different, and that will dent my confidence. And I found the remedy to that is just to leave everything exactly the same. But I've never had a crisis of confidence like this where I'm really worried about going to the skate park. I'm concerned about getting injured. Now, this debilitating fear of injury is a brand new thing for me. I'm not going to say I wasn't scared of getting injured before, but I did tend to find that if I just went in with full confidence, gay abandon and fired in there, it all worked out okay, and that inspired my confidence that I wasn't going to get injured. I think now I might be subconsciously protecting myself because I want to crack on with the climbing, and obviously any injury for the climbing is going to be curtains. So I think today my focus is going to be to get back on it. I'm going to lower all my expectations right down. I haven't skated the pool or the spine here for a good few weeks. So I want to try and get back some of the things I used to do. Now that can sometimes knock my confidence because I'm there going, oh, I used to be able to do this and now I can't. I'm rubbish. But I think today, if I can just lower my expectations and get back in there, I'm going to try out a few challenges that I used to be able to do, hopefully get the stoke back up. That'll build my confidence. And the aim is to get myself psychologically back to where I used to be, where I could just fire into things willy-nilly without that nagging doubt in the back of my mind. Anyway, enough of my yakking. I reckon my first challenge is going to be some 50-50 grinds in the pool. Now, I used to find these relatively easy, and for full disclosure, I'm going to put in all the attempts I make just so you can see where I'm at. Okay, I managed to get those back in the locker fairly quickly. I think I tempted fate by whinging on about a lack of confidence, and as I went in for the first couple, they felt pretty good. After I made the initial couple, I got overexcited and a little bit carried away, started going for more blocks of grind and overthinking my technique. And that's when the wheels fell off and I introduced a couple of bails. This is something that happens to me quite regularly. I start off not thinking at all and everything's fine. Then I overthink it. And to get out of that, I just resettled my mind, lowered my expectations, and then I locked into a fairly consistent rhythm of making the backside 50-50. Next challenge is the frontside 50-50. Now this one can be a little bit emotional, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm always scared of it to start with. So it's gonna be a case of throwing it in and seeing how it feels. Okay, I managed to get a few frontside 50-50s to come back in. Again, it was the same deal. Made a couple of early ones from not thinking, and then overthought it, got a bit greedy, trying to go for too many blocks of coping, overcooked it. The bail started happening and I had a bit of an emotional bail. Now that sort of bail is the one I've been struggling to come back from. Landed right there on my thigh. And there's a split second there where I'm not sure how bad it is. So I tend to use the rugby player technique of keeping it moving, get a bit of movement through it, test it out. Turned out it wasn't too bad, so I managed to carry on, and that has now boosted my confidence. I know it sounds silly, but just making a few slams, realising it's not too bad, is helping me to get my head back to where I used to be. Okay, I think the next challenge is to link those two together, so backside 50-50 and then a frontside 50-50. Okay, I managed to get those two grinds linked up. I find that one's a good test of the consistency because if one goes wrong, then you can't complete the two. And I find that I get the first grind pretty easy, and then the pressure piles on, I'm thinking about that second grind too much. So I found that the makes I made is when I just sort of managed to settle the ship, calm down, relax, and go into that backside 50-50 grind with a nice clear head. It's quite a good test of my ability to regulate my speed as well. Going into those grinds with too little speed is a bit of a nightmare. I was finding if I got too much coping grind on my backside carve, that was bringing my speed down. And then when I went for the 50-50 grind, I'd have limited speed. I'd try and pump into it, force it, and then the wheels would literally come off. Also, getting overexcited is one of my key traits, and too much pump is over the top and then falling down into the bottom, which is not ideal. Okay, next up, I'm gonna go for the board slide to fakie. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, this one usually takes a lot of attempts, so this could be quite a long video. that's the board slide to fakie back in the bag. That took about as long as I imagined it would. I haven't done one for months and it always takes me quite a while to get the commitment levels up to coming back in. The thing that holds me back is the fear of falling backwards onto my hip and my elbow, which is always pretty emotional. Once I can override that fear and just throw caution to the wind, I can make it in, and it's quite annoying because I realise that some of the attempts I'd done quite a long while ago were perfectly okay to come back in from. Once I've got it, I like to make 2 or 3 extra attempts on top just to bed it in. And the last one I made was up there with the sort of length I like to do usually. And I managed to squeeze in a tail stall on the pocket, which I haven't done before in that order. So next up, I want to test out my vert drop-in skills. Last time out, I got the yips with the drop-in. It was really weird. I just couldn't commit to dropping in. I'd stick the board out and then I'd have a refusal and have to pull it back. Now the vert transition here at Concrete Waves is a good 3 foot smaller than the one at Mount Hawk, but it's still a vert drop-in, and I'm going to challenge myself to just rock up and go straight in. Okay, for a final challenge, I'm going to head over to the spine. I think I find the spine the scariest of everything, but my confidence levels are rising back up to a pretty normal level. So I'm up for trying a new idea, and that's to come in from the roll-in with maximum speed, do a board slide for as long as I can, preferably the full length of the spine, and then bring her back in over the top. Now I'm going to change my approach, and I'm just going to go straight in for it. As soon as one feels good, I'm going to commit and hopefully come out smelling the roses. Okay, that's it for this video. Just the process of making it has really helped me confront my fears. Thanks very much for sticking with me to this point. I think overall my confidence levels have gone back up. Had a few good slams there, especially on my thigh. Managed to make it through. I think I've got rid of the yips on that vert ramp, but I'd like to go back to Mount Hawk and try it on the full 13-foot vert ramp, see if I can make it in without any hesitation. And it was good to get some of those pull coping tricks back in the bag. The 50-50 grinds felt really nice once they were there. Had a bit of a battle with that board slide to fakie, as I usually do, but once that was there, managed to get it locked in, and I look forward to coming back, putting those all into a run, and then I can get on with my next batch of tricks that I want to learn. Also, if you've had any issues with confidence or can relate to any of the topics covered in this video, then please do put your experiences in the comments below. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. As ever, my name's been John Bishop, and I'll see you next time.